People think that they're like, oh no, like they think they're onto some shit with it. No, you're not. I think about this more than anyone. I have the best fucking GOAT list on the planet. Yeah, son. Third best. Everyone wants me to debate. Listen, I don't want to turn this entire thing into like, oh, that's debate, bro. Like, I just wanted to hop on here to defend my takes. It's gonna turn into like the Kenny Lucas show debate type of thing. I know people want me to debate Kenny, but like, dude, here's the thing. Adesanya just has so many L's. He has so many L's.
Listen, guys, I don't care for the debate with Lucas. I saw you guys spamming his live, brother. I don't really care for the debate with Lucas. I just know what LucasTracy's intentions were when he dropped that GOAT list. I know what his intentions were, and he got a reaction. Sometimes I don't like, like getting rage baited. I really don't like it, and I try not to show, like, get a little bit angry or whatever, but bro, Lucas just does it so well, because when Lucas is explaining his points, he sounds very genuine. Like, it almost sounds like he believes what he says, but this guy put people like Jan at number 9. He put Armin above Adesanya. Oh my God. Like, dude, he's smart for not debating me. And I'll be real, he's smart for 2 reasons. One, he knows in a debate that actually takes like actual IQ and intelligence. Lucas knows I'll cook him, and I like Lucas. He's a cool guy. He's just good at getting people, like, getting people talking. That's what he's good at, and yeah, he's just a funny guy, really. And in this video, I have my top 30 greatest UFC fighters ready for you guys, and I'm gonna show you guys my list. And listen, one thing I'm gonna back Lucas on is that no matter what, when you make a GOAT list, you're going to get negativity because everyone has a different opinion. There's never been a set GOAT list. Back in the day, it was like, yeah, man, GSP, fucking, Anderson Silva and DJ. If that's not your top 5, you're fucking, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like times have changed. And when times change, I change, brother. I have to adjust to times. But Lucas purposely, like I said, his list is not just like, oh, well, I disagree with that placement. It was just a really bad list. That was probably the worst list I've ever seen. Like, you guys didn't actually take time and just look at the finished product. That list was abysmal, bro. Like, Lucas, man, like, I understand you don't want to debate because, like, but it's okay. I'll let you off the hook. We don't got to debate. I don't care for a debate. But I'm going to show you guys what an actual list looks like. And let me tell you guys LucasTracy's whole plan. You guys need to watch this part of the video. This is very important. I saw LucasTracy's list, guys, and I came to a realization. And listen to me and hear me out. This is important. The whole point of LucasTracy's video was to glaze Volkanovski. And I figured this out while I was watching it live. I had my how live reaction posted. Dude, Lucas put Volk second and put Islam 1, and like the whole time he was just talking about how Volk, the only time Islam beat Volk in the second fight because short notice, he kept making excuses for Volk and be like, Volk only lost to their number 1 GOAT of all time. That's the reason he put Islam number 1 and Volk number 2. And you got to think about it. You guys got to remember Charles and like Dustin, they're ahead of like people like Adesanya, like people who are like Figgy, like people who are like better. Like Dustin's not better than those guys, but he was putting Dustin and Charles and even Gaethje on the list. But these are people Islam has went against and beaten. Islam beating the Charles. Islam's beating the Dustin's. So he's putting them on the list higher than they should be, simply based on the fact because he knows it's going to make Volk's loss to Islam look better. That's why if you look at it and you see a lot of lightweights kind of high, Armin Sarukian, someone Islam Makhachev beat, people are like, why is Armin on this list? Why is Armin so high? Because Islam beat him, guys. Keep in mind, Islam beat him at like his debut, but Islam beat him. So he's trying to say, look, Islam's beating these guys who are all in the top fucking 30, So Volkanovski losing to someone who beats everyone in the top, it's not a big deal. The whole thing was a pyramid scheme to get Volk up there, and I solved you. And I was going to say it if we debated, so, brother, you dodged a bullet. Now, everyone who has common sense is going to look back at your list and be like, wait, why is everyone that Islam fought, like, so high on the list, like, higher than they should be? Like, why is Armin there? Why is Charles there? It's because it makes Volk look better in turn, so we can look at the Volk loss to Islam and be like, well, that wasn't that bad of a loss. Simply, I had to expose that, just so people know. It wasn't a genuine list. It was just a rage-baiting list to make Volk get his flowers that LucasTracy wants to do. All that being said, guys, let's get into my top 30 list. Now, no, if you guys are expecting to see something like Lucas, me putting out Adesanya number 2 and then making all these other middleweights like top 30, that's not what you're going to get. I'm actually an honest person, and I honestly made this list So this is the official GOAT list in my opinion. Of course, there's going to be people in the comments who disagree, but let's get into the video. I'll tell you guys a quick disclaimer real quick. I'm going to talk about the criteria, but in the slides themselves, I only mention the wins and losses. You actually have to listen to this video and listen to my reasonings of why I have them there and why certain people are above. So you got to actually listen to this video. Don't just skim through, and skim through the lines and like, oh, can you put this guy there and not listen to the explanation. You have to sit there and listen. It's not going to be an hour-long video. Just get buckled in. Let's talk about it. First, my criteria is definitely different from LucasTracy's. I value quality of wins. Me and Lucas here agree on that. I also value dominance, and I value it very highly. I feel like, yes, you're beating the quality of wins. Are they good people? Okay, are you going to split decision? Is it like a Volkanovski, Max Holloway 2, where like I thought Max won, but I don't think that's a great win. Like, it's a good win on paper, but how was the dominance in that fight? Was it a dominating performance, or was it like a wishy-washy performance? So quality of wins, dominance, championship medal. People try, like Lucas is trying to do something nowadays, and a lot of other people are. Where like titles don't matter, titles don't do this, title wins don't do it. This is the thing. This is how I feel about title wins. I feel like when you have a championship, it shows that you're the best in your weight class actively and currently. And I feel as if it's showing that even if I don't agree with the level of opposition back in the day, so like even these older fighters, guys, you're not going to see them at like number fucking 30. Like I'm not going to put Silva number 30 because I just feel like these guys are, bro, people evolve, of course, but I'm going to look at the quality of wins at the time and the dominance at the time and the championship medal at the time. You got to take it with a grain of salt. Because if not, guys, Silva's not in my top 30. GSP, brother, out like top 10. Like, I don't want to do them that dirty, so I am going to acknowledge their championship medal at the time. I also said context of the losses. How are you losing? Are you like winning the whole fight then losing? Then I'm like, okay, that's not a horrible loss. Are you like just getting a lucky, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's happening in the losses? That matters to me, like, very much so. Then official results matter, Lucas. Yes, brother, little bit not. Oh, well, I think this guy win in my heart. Brother, I don't care, brother. I don't like how Lucas is making that like mainstream now. Yeah, guys, the judges make mistakes, so we should just do what we think in our head. That's not how shit works. Yes, I agree there's robberies, but I feel like if your whole consensus is just whatever you think happens, your bias is going to come through way more than other people. Like, you say you're not biased to Izzy, but in the Izzy Whitaker fight, Izzy outstruck him every single round. Like, I don't even want to talk about that because everyone's going to have their opinion, sure. But, like, my whole thing is stop. If you can't let your opinion act, you can't act like your opinion is a fact, or you're going to have a LucasTracy list. You're going to have Jan at number 5. You're going to have Armin Sarukian at number 12. That's why you can't let your opinions... You can't base your opinions like they're facts or fucking stupid shit like that's gonna happen, bro. So without further ado, my criteria, the correct criteria. Let's get into my top 30 UFC fighters. Coming at the number 30 spot, coming in hot. Yes, baby. Let's get it, brother. Dale. We're starting off with Khamzat Chimaev. And I know people like little bit confused, maybe. Brother, Usman. I know it's 10 days notice, but that's Usman. And Usman was working in that fight. Khamzat had to work for that win. Robert Whitaker, and like I said, you guys got to look at what do I look at? Quality of wins and dominance. Usman's quality, he won it barely. I thought it was a draw. But Whitaker, that's a quality opponent in a dominating fashion, and Whitaker was well prepared. Whitaker had 2 camps to get ready for Khamzat. Like, he was well prepared for Khamzat Chimaev, and he gets treated like that. He made Whitaker look like he never hustled with the stars or tussled with the law, or shook his homie hand after they punched him in the jaw. He made him look like a fraud in that fight. He did. Like, I watched that fight. I was like, whoa. This guy is going against quality opponents and beats on him. Burns, good fight, tough fight. He wins it. That's a good name. Because before that, who's the only person to beat Burns at welterweight? His name starts with Kamaru, ends in Usman. That's a great win that people don't understand the context behind. And then Kevin Holland, of course, rolling around, trying to survive, finish it in dominating fashion. And he has 0 losses and he's dominant. That's why he's a top 30 fighter in the UFC for me already. And I feel like, I don't know, even like Armin can't be ahead of a Khamzat, man. Like, Armin beat Gamrot. Like, stop with this weird stuff. Like, stop it, bro. Quality of wins matters, but if your quality of wins, you're dominating them like someone like a Robert Whitaker. I've never seen Whitaker got dominated like that. Even the DDP fight, he lost quickly. He didn't get dominated like that, though. Like, he was hurting DDP. He took down DDP too. It was back and forth first round, but Khamzat went in there and showed, like, it made it look like Whitaker should not have even been in there with him. So that's why I'm going to value Khamzat as a top 30 UFC fighter of all time, brother. He's a great brother. And if he beats Strickus, he's going to go skyrocketing up this list. It's important to make sure that people, like, I hate when people don't act like If Hamza wins, guys, people are going to start talking about him like a top 15. So how can he not already be in your top 30? It's not that Drickus does all that for your resume. You can't act like Drickus is just going to catapult him that much. The fact of the matter is Hamza's already in the conversation. We're just not talking about him. But guess what? I'm going to talk. Careful, brother. Careful. All right. Done with number 30 to number 29. I got Dominic Cruz. His wins against DJ, TJ, Faber twice, Benavidez twice. And he loses to Cejudo, Cody, Faber, and Cheeto when he was old. And he was doing good against Cheeto, by the way, before the head kick. He was actually beating Cheeto before the head kick. But, you know, he's losing to good people. He's losing to sound opponents. Faber lost. He was kind of young as well. But he's losing to sound opponents. And he's beating great opponents, and he's one of the bantamweight GOATs in my opinion. He had the championship medal. Like I said, he had that championship wins. He had the championship. He had the title, all that. So I'm going to value him not only as one of the greatest bantamweights of all time, but as a top 30 UFC fighter, number 21. I think he's ahead of Hamza simply because of the championship medal. Can I look at Hamza's resume and be like, maybe his dominance and all that? Maybe, sure. But right now, I definitely do think Dominic Cruz is ahead of Hamza Chimaev, and he is a top 30 UFC fighter, and we have to acknowledge him. Because, brother, this guy good, you know, maybe a little bit handsome, strong. I don't know, brother. He's good, though. He's talented and definitely one of the GOATs for the bantamweight weight class. Moving on to number 28. Robert the Reaper Whittaker. I like that people are putting him in his top 30. Sometimes people put him a little too high, but he's winning. He won against Romero. He beat Gastelum. He beat Till, Victoria, Jared, and then it knocked out Ikram. The Ikram knockout, I added it here because it was a dominating performance. Like, he dominated. Like I said, I value dominance. And even though Ikram's not proven, prior to that, he had one loss and it was against Hamza Chimaev, and that's a really good fighter. Of course, he lost to Izzy twice. You know, brother, look at me eye when I say, brother, twice, you know. This is true. This is true. This is facts. This actually happened. Outstruck him the entire fight. In the first fight, knocked him out so bad, the footage might be deleted. Someone check if that footage is still up. I'm pretty sure they deleted the footage. Something about too graphic for YouTube. I don't know. And then DDP lost. That's a good fighter as well. Hamza lost, good fighter. And Wonderboy beat him up so bad. But that was 170. So Whittaker is definitely losing to sound opponents, great opponents, and he is winning against some great opponents. I guess Romero's his best win. Romero's always been a little bit overrated to me too, in a sense, but it's still a tough guy to go in there and beat. You know, people like Paulo Costa, that's their best win and stuff. But interesting, yeah. Whittaker, he's still a very sound person. I feel like he beats up people really well too. Like, he beat up Victoria pretty well. Same with Cannonier. He did a really good job against Cannonier. Sometimes he gets rocked in these fights, but he shows toughness. He also beat Costa pretty well. I didn't even mention Costa for some reason, but he beat Costa very well after getting rocked and coming back in the first round. Not quite an Izzy performance, you know, because Izzy's a little bit different, a little bit handsome, maybe strong, tall. But Whittaker did go in there and make his presence felt for sure. Definitely a top 28 for me. Moving on from Whittaker. Oh, now it's problem, brother. Movsar Evloev, guys. Quality of wins, and I do feel like most of these fights Movsar has full control over. You know, some people try to shame decision victories. I honestly see decisions like you're going in there and you're literally testing all the skills of him. He beat Lopez, who's a title challenger, who went in there and dropped Volk, had Volk going through adversity. You know, Movsar went through less adversity than Volkanovski. Fun fact. You know, he wasn't getting rocked on the feet and dropped. He didn't get dropped. You can't really find a clip of Movsar even getting dropped. You know, no offense, Volk. You're strong, bald guy. You're just not Movsar. You're never going to find that. He beat Aljamain Sterling. That's a really good win. That's an all-time great. You know, bantamweight GOAT to me. You know, beating Aljo, that's no simple task. Beat Arnold Allen. People always glaze Arnold Allen when they talk about Max or like all these other fighters to hype up. Let's talk about it for Movsar though, because Movsar beat him soundly. The only moment Allen had in the fight was illegal knees. Let's be real. Movsar Evloev needs his appreciation. Dan Ige, who nearly beat Lopez, who, like I said, fought for the title. Nick Lentz. I'm just bringing up Nick Lentz because he's on some GOAT's resume, like, you know, Islam Makhachev. He's on. Nick Lentz been around. He's been around. So, like, for Movsar to go in there and put a beats on him like Dr. Dre, hands on him, lots of bass, I'm gonna respect it. Movsar's really good. And how much losses he have, brother? This much, you know. So, especially someone like Lucas, I'm surprised they didn't put him on this list, who values, you know, win to loss ratio. This guy's special, 19-0. He's been in there with a lot of people so far. Look at that. Look how much names he's been in there with already. And he's going in there. He's having good fights with them. He's showing that he's top level. So Movsar's definitely slept on. And I don't hate him at a number 27. This is my opinion. This might be like a hot take to some people. But like I said, watch out for Movsar. Because after he beats this Pico guy and gets the title, he's going to be champion. He's going to be in everyone's like top 15 or top 10 suddenly. He can't just jump to the top 15, top 10. It has to be progression. Right now, I think he's at 27. The progression will happen. All right. Moving on to number 26. Dustin Poirier. I see him kind of high, sometimes kind of low on people, but he's almost a top 25 fighter of all time. Of course, he's never won a belt, like I said, but it's not a big deal because he still beat someone like Gaethje. Chandler, every time I bring up a Chandler win or put a Chandler win on someone's resume, like I start to think, I'm like, bro, Chandler's kind of like, I don't know, bro. Like, he's all right. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about. But Chandler's a good win, sure. Max twice, great. Conor twice. You know, I don't think it was prime Conor, but I do think he beat Conor. Like, it was Conor McGregor in the body. You know, Hooker, great violent fight. You know, I want to say he dominated Hooker. I think it was back and forth. And then Alvarez, he had a pretty good fight. So Gaethje has like, not Gaethje. Dustin has some good fights. I want to say he's as dominant as I want. Like I said, I do value dominance a lot. He doesn't really dominate anyone. He kind of has back and forth where he gets dropped or he gets hurt or it's a slugfest, but he's still a good fighter. Losses to great fighters pretty much, and then he lost to Cub Swanson and the Korean Zombie. I'm not saying they're not great fighters, just probably not on the caliber of the other fighters Dustin has lost to. Like getting knocked out by Conor when Conor was in the featherweight era, running through everyone, that's not a bad loss. You know, getting knocked out by Gaethje, that's a pretty good fighter as well. You know, he gets finished, he gets beat up like Islam, Habib. Those are great fighters. So he's losing to good people. Like, he does have a good amount of losses, but he's still losing to good people. So I don't think this negative, brother. I don't think this negative thing, you know. So moving on to top 25 UFC fighters of all time. This is where we're starting to get the top 25 list. So you're going to start recognizing some names. Figgy. I don't really feel like people appreciate flyweights a lot, and I feel like Figgy's one of those flyweights who would deserve appreciation. Pantoja win, Moreno win, Benavidez twice, and a couple of bantamweights. You know, Rob Font got it. You know, Cody Garbrandt got it. There's people who he went up to, and he just started beating them up, and he showed that he could kind of switch over weight classes. But to be honest, the second he went against, I'm not laughing at him, but the second his little ass went against like legitimate like bantamweights like Corey Sandhagen and Jan, beats on him, Dr. Dre, hands on him, lots of base. It was kind of sad to see that, but still good. He's still not a walk in the park for anybody. Like, if you're gonna go against Figgy, you know you're gonna go through it, and you're gonna go through some, you know, it's going to be a hard fight. Of course, lost to Moreno, Corey, and Jan. Like I said, the Corey and Jan fight, different weight class, but if he never went to bantamweight, I don't want to say that. To be honest, his weight cut looked fucking tragic. Like, his face looked so sucked out every time he cut to 125, but he made the weight, and he do good. But maybe going to bantamweight was all right until he started going against good people, because Corey beat him up so bad. He almost looked like he shouldn't have been in there with Corey. I was like, fuck, dude, delete the footage, eh? But yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a good win against Cheeto as well. But yeah, Figgy, good fighter overall, and one of the greatest flyweights of all time. He needs his respect. Moving on from the top 25 to number 24, we got Max Holloway. Max Blessed Holloway. I don't know where. I feel like Lucas had Max really high, which was interesting. He had him in the top 10, you know. Interesting to me. Like I said, Max, great fighter. He's never been the best fighter in his weight class, which is okay because he's losing to good people. I didn't even put his loss against Ilya, by the way, because that was so recent. But Ilya's chinned him badly. But yeah, he has wins against Justin, Aldo twice, Ortega. I think he's there. Yair. I think he's there. Cater. I think he's there. Edgar, pretty okay. Pettis at the time, Arnold Allen, people praise that unless it's Miles or Evlov, but I'm gonna praise it for both. Allen's tough, he's a juggernaut. And then Korean Zombie. That I hate. I don't like when Korean Zombie started fighting people when he knew damn well he shouldn't have been. But I'm gonna add it because people are gonna just mention it in the comments probably. But yeah, got knocked out brutally by Ilya. But other than that, you know, lost to Dustin. He was actually putting some good volume on Dustin. It was just a significant power difference when he went up in weight the first time. I think the very first fight he had in the UFC was also Dustin. I think he got submitted there. Then Volkanovski 3 times. Fuck, that's tough, isn't it? And then McGregor, and then Bermudez. I don't even know who the hell how he lost to this random guy, but that happened too. But still a great fighter. A lot of losses, of course, but you know, quality of wins are good. He had some dominating performance. I do like domination, so this performance against like someone like Cater was very good to me. And even Yair was back and forth. But the thing about Max Holloway, for my dominance criteria category, I feel like the way he fights is almost like he's never really gonna dominate. He kind of dominated Gaethje though. But like, he likes to take licks and give licks, so it's okay. But yeah, Gaethje's win was definitely his best in my opinion. Flawless win going up to 155, brother. Dale. Yeah, I'd never see stuff as good as this, brother. So moving on from 24 to 23, we got Charles Oliveira. The Bronx. Great fighter. Dustin, Justin Chandler, and Kevin Lee are probably the most notable wins I could say for Charles. Losses to many people, both good people, both mid people. But, you know, I don't really want to take too much from his early Charles career, and I know you're probably looking at it like, but Kenny, his wins, like, he doesn't even look that impressive to me. Like, yeah, I didn't even add the Dariush win, but that was a cool little win too, of course. But you know, looking at Charles, it's not that he's like, I understand a lot of people like him, and he's not a bad fighter, of course. Like, he struggles with a specific style, like wrestlers like Arm and Islam, they're gonna beat him, you know, they're gonna show him levels, you know. But even Ilya now, like some strikers, they'll give him adversity. He's never been dominant. You guys know I like dominance. In my criteria, I do value dominance. You almost never see Charles dominate a fight because he gets hit and rocked a lot and dropped a lot, but he's still good. And the reason he's 23 pretty decently high is that the championship medal of the guy, like he came through all that adversity, still won the belt, defended the belt a couple of times. So I value Charles Oliveira, and I think at number 23 is pretty fitting for him. I don't want to put him too high, but I don't want to put him too low. So 23, brother, special number, good for Charles Oliveira. This list is actually making sense. Notice how so far this list is making sense. You're not seeing some sporadic crazy shit because, brother, this is like truthful stuff. Number 22, Magomed Ankalaev. Oh shit, they're gonna get at me in the comments. Yo, listen, stop with keyboard type, relax. Don't jump on the, don't jump to stupid shit, guys. Yes, I have him ahead of Charles Oliveira, and it shouldn't be a problem. Why are you looking at me like that? Like, you ain't gonna do nothing, brother. Relax. Sit down and calm down. His win over Pereira is better than any win Charles Oliveira has. But can Charles beat fucking Dustin? So what? But he beat Justin. Justin's better than Pereira all time, right? No, he's not. Yeah, but he beat Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee's he's close to Pereira, right? Dale. No dale. Let's be real, guys. Pereira is better than anything Charles has done. Rakic is a good win. Santos is still being glazed on John Jones' resume. Let's be real. He's being glazed on John Jones' resume. I think Krylov, like people like Krylov, Uzdemir, Johnny Walker, they're going to say, like, why you even mention Johnny Walker? He was riding momentum prior to the Ankalaev fight. It wasn't the era where he was getting knocked out. You guys are forgetting. Johnny Walker, if he beat Ankalaev, he would have had a title opportunity. I bet people don't know that. But, like, Johnny Walker was starting to come into himself when he won against him. And Krylov was always a dog. Rakic only lost, like, twice in the UFC. And his Jan Blachowicz loss was because of leg injury. He's beating up Jan. So people forget how good that fight is. And I don't even have a win for Jan Blachowicz, but you guys know damn well he beat Jan Blachowicz. But I don't want to LucasTracy Max and get on here and give him a win that he didn't actually do. But I really believe he beat Jan Blachowicz. But I'm not going to include it because, like I said, I'm going to stay truthful to what happened. But... listen, Magomed Ankalaev, number 22, and I think we got to start acknowledging this because he's going to start climbing quickly. After he beats Pereira in the rematch, knocks him out probably this time around, And most of his fights, like, he shows, like, he puts on a good clinic. I didn't even add Cutelaba and stuff for people he's knocking out left and right, But this guy's special. And then the one loss is a fluke to Craig. Everyone has to have a fluke loss. Islam lost to Pantoja. Islam, people have fluke losses. I literally see this as Craig getting destroyed the entirety of the fight and getting a Hail Mary triangle. It happens, whatever, bro. We learn from it. We move on. We never lose again, brother. Dagestan hearts. Look at this guy, handsome, strong, maybe a little bit owl look. This guy's good. So don't say negative stuff about Magomed Ankalaev, knowing damn well he's better than Charles all time. I'm sorry. That's gonna stir up some people in the comments. They'd be like, nah, Kenny Gaethje's better than Pereira, but it's not true. So I don't really care for what they say. I'll be real. And he's way more dominant than Charles. Like, he doesn't get dropped every fight and come back and, like, yo, don't even try it in the comments, brother, because I don't duck debates. I'm not LucasTracy, I don't duck. I'll eat you alive in the comments. Be careful. All right, moving on from 22. Let's go 21. He has the 2 belts for a reason. Conor McGregor. I got him here because he's a double champ. He's talented, and he's beat the likes of Dustin Poirier. Jose Aldo's best win, definitely riding that crazy momentum, crazy win streak, and he beat Alvarez when he went up to become double champ. Beat Mendes, great win. Max Holloway win, pretty good, definitely aged well as well. And then the Nate Diaz win, he needed that comeback, and he showed he could do it. Then his losses are only Khabib, Dustin twice, and Diaz. Khabib's not a bad person to lose to, of course. Dustin Poirier twice. He was a little bit older. I want to cut him slack, but, like, he shouldn't have been fighting in the first place, but whatever. He didn't look in it. I want to say Dustin be like a prime Conor, but he did beat a Conor McGregor, so it is what it is. But either way, lost to Dustin twice, and then, like, he lost to Nate Diaz, which was I was shocked. I remember, like, live, I did not see that shit coming. I thought Nate was gonna get licked up. So seeing Nate show toughness and strong Stockton, yeah, motherfucker, what, dude, what? That surprised me. So yeah, other than that though, he's not really losing to bad people. These guys all strong, maybe little handsome people. I don't know, bro. They're good people. So not a bad placement for Conor McGregor, especially double champ. I gotta value that double champ belt. Even though you didn't defend both belts, you're still almost top 20 all time. Speaking of top 20, let's get into the top 20 UFC fighters of all time. Number 20, we got Dricus Zubezis. Put some respect on my South African brother, man. I love Dricus, man. And if he beats Hamza, now it's problem, brother. Now it's because I'm gonna have to catapult this dude, man. Like, I'm talking, like, he could literally catapult fuck, dude. Because I know Hamza, people are going to be like, oh, Ken, he's not that proven. No, he's proven. He's good. He's beating the likes of Whitaker like he's a piece of cake. You know, in Usman, he drew with him or beat him, whatever you want to say. But if he beats Hamza, it's a problem. But he already beat Israel Adesanya, Robert Whitaker, Sean Strickland twice, Brunson Till, you know, even Tavares. Listen, Duplessis doesn't necessarily look great. As far as the domination goes, my criteria there, yes, he's lacking a little bit, but he's a dog and he finds ways to win, and he has not lost to anyone in the UFC. Of course, he got knocked out in the other promotion. I've seen the clip. Everyone's seen the clip. But he's tough, he's durable, and he fights, man. Like, he bites down on that mouthpiece and he starts wanging it, brother. He starts wanging and slanging. So you got to respect him. You like or you don't like. He is best middleweight in the world right now. Thank you, except for Hamza, because I do think Hamza's going to beat him. But outside of that, guys, Dricus Du Plessis, respect this guy a little bit or don't respect. No matter what you do, though, you know, he's handsome, strong South African, so you better like him. All right, moving on for number 20. I'm glad I put him in the top 20 because I need people to start paying attention and respecting my boy Dricus Du Plessis. And then number 19 spot, though, we got Stipe Miocic. His wins against DC twice. Was DC young, prime DC? No, I don't think 41, 42-year-old DC is great. But I saw Lucas saying, like, but DC at 41, 42 will beat other people. Yeah, but Stipe is not other people. Stipe is a great fighter. Like, we got to understand the context of the fight. I don't think DC was in his prime. I think DC should have wrapped it up after he beat Lewis, whatever. He beat a young Francis. Was it prime Francis? No. It was a little bit more green Francis. Was Francis riding momentum? Of course, because he was going against people who lack what Stipe has, which is wrestling and boxing. And then he lost. Then he won against JDS and Overeem and Verdum. Those are all great wins. You know, his only losses to Skyscraper Struve fucked him up bad. You know, that was a crazy. I still looking back at the fight, like Struve just looked fucking. He just was beating his ass in the boxing. No, and then Prime Ngannou. He beat young Ngannou, but he couldn't beat Ngannou at his peak. Clearly, because the wrestling just wasn't working. He got brutally chinned. Lost to DC when DC went up the first time, when DC was probably at more peak shape. You know, DC, when he's fighting Stipe, especially the third time, he looked a little fat and out of shape and like clobby, you know. That's not going to work against Stipe, you know. When he first went up to fight Stipe, though, he looked a lot more, you know, that fat solid. That's how DC looked, a little fat solid. But like the third time, I was like, yo, he's just fat, man. You know, so you couldn't really be prime DC, couldn't be prime Ngannou, and lost to JDS in his prime. It is what it is. He's losing a lot of prime heavyweights, but he's still a great heavyweight, which is why he's number 19 on my GOAT list. Moving on from number 19, Stipe, great guy, you know, looks like he has like maybe, what's that one thing, that one brand that keeps your hair not getting gray? I lost my train of thought. Let's move on. Moving on to Aljamain Sterling. I got him in number 18 spot, guys. I do think Funkmaster, look at that fucking high, look at that high top, dude. Did he actually, I don't remember him fighting like this. Fuck, dude, that looks fucking, nah, he definitely didn't do that. But wins against Jan, I didn't put twice, even though he beat Jan twice. I'm not saying I'm not counting the first fight, but like, bro, I can't really celebrate that as a win. But he also beat Cejudo. He beat Cejudo when Cejudo first came back from post-retirement, but Cejudo kind of looked pretty good. Like, he looked like he was making it competitive with Aljo. And even after that, he made it competitive with Marab. So I do value the Cejudo win pretty highly. And he fucking floored Corey Sandhagen. You guys know I like dominance in my criteria. He dominated Corey. He made Corey look like he shouldn't have been there. Choked him out really fast. And then, of course, the win against Cater, what I feel like makes this more impressive than other people's win against Cater is that he went up and waited to do it. Like, I could look at Max Holloway's like win against Cater, like, yo, that's crazy, which it was crazy. But the way he dominated Cater in a very one-sided fight going up in weight, I did not think his power and his strength would transfer that easy. But he was ragdolling him and playing with him like he's Play-Doh, bro. Play-Doh building him up. It was crazy, dude. I can't believe Aljo just floored him that bad. He Batista bombed him, you know. I don't know if you guys remember that fight. But his only losses, Evolov, you know, Sugar, Morales. Early in his career, he did lose to some people, but that was early Funkmaster. But once he started getting to his tune, the only people he really lost to was notable was Evolov, Sugar, and Marias. The Marias fucking chinned him, though. But yeah, Aljo, I think he's the greatest bantamweight of all time, in my opinion. He has the most consecutive bantamweight title defenses, 3. That's 3 in a row. They didn't even include the TJ win, but that is a notable one. Yes, he had an injury, but bro, don't show up to fight if you're not, you know, ready. And he showed up like he was ready. He lost very easily. Dominant victory for Aljamain Sterling. But moving on from number 18, let's go number 17, brother. We got Francis Ngannou. I have a number 17. I think he fell a little bit since my last list. I think I had him like number 15, but it's okay, bro. He's just not active. Some of these guys are active. These active guys are passing him, bro. He beat peak Stipe. I'm saying peak Stipe because Stipe was riding momentum off of fucking destroying DC twice in a row. He's feeling himself. Then gets absolutely chinned because he evolved from the first Stipe fight. Stipe couldn't take him down, and then he forced him to stand, knocked him out cleanly. Cyril Gane win was really good. He had to adjust after losing the first 2 rounds. The third round, someone he started wrestling every other round, and he even reversed Gon at a point because Gon's grappling's just shit. You know, Francis Ngannou put out the blueprint to be Gon, which helped out John Jones. Fun fact. Anyways, yeah. So knocks out peak Stipe, not prime, but peak Stipe. He beats Cyril Gane, that's new generation. Beating Curtis Blades, that's new generation. Beating Cain Velasquez, who wasn't riding any losing streak, by the way. You know, that's old gen. Beat JDS, that's old gen, but was riding momentum. Beat Overeem, who in his last 7 fights, I believe, had 6 wins and 1 loss was against Stipe Miocic. So he's only ever lost to Stipe in those last 7 fights. And then he knocked him out, took his chin to Pluto. That's a good win too. Arlovsky, you know, he beat every gen of heavyweight. If you're a new gen, Curtis Blades, Rosenstrike, Gane, he's going to chin you. You know, if you're old gen, JDS, Overeem, Stipe, he's going to chin you. He beat every single era of heavyweight. I don't know how people don't respect him. He's a dangerous guy. His only losses to Stipe and Lewis, those are back-to-back. I think this Lewis fight was so, like, I don't even know how Lewis got the win. He didn't do anything either, but, yeah, they're both, like, I think Francis just was, like, not feeling himself after losing to Stipe. He was very cautious to even throw and respected Lewis' power too much because he's so much better than Lewis. But, yeah, only 2 losses. So this guy's ratios to losses to wins are a lot better than Stipe, and I feel like he beat Stipe at a better point in both of their careers. And he beat the newer gen, which Stipe didn't get to do, and he also beat the over gen. I do think he's the heavyweight GOAT. You know, you guys could argue if you want to, but, like, Francis just has a better resume than Stipe, point blank period. Moving on from number 17, let's go number 16. We got Jose Aldo. Just missed out on the top 15 UFC fighters of all time. You know, he has some notable wins. 2 wins against Edgar, 2 wins against Mendez, the Korean Zombie, you know, Jeremy Stevens, Chito Vera. Like, saying some of these names out loud, I'm like, eesh. And then he loses to every elite fighter. I'm sorry. Especially after the Conor knockout, every elite fighter he went against, he'll lose to. Poor guy. Can't be Jan, can't be Max, can't be Volk. It's all good. It's not, like I said, they just happen to be elite fighters, you know. And it's okay. It's okay. It's just that he hit a point of his career, I feel like, after getting knocked out by Conor, that the best thing he could probably win against is a Chito Vera or Jeremy Stevens. Those are the best wins he got after beating Conor. Fun fact, you know. He just can't really piece stuff together as much as he wanted to. Still a great fighter. I can't forget his championship medal, especially prior to before he was in the UFC, ran that crazy win streak. I think he was undefeated for how much years, chat? I swear it was almost 10 years. Dude's crazy. So, like, yeah, I gotta still put him top 16. I know some of these wins on, like, you're looking at the screen like, what the hell? Why are we praising these Mendez and Edgar and Korean Zombie wins? They're not bad wins, especially at the time. The Stevens and Cheeto wins, I'm kind of grasping at straws, but I gotta put Aldo here. Come on, guys. It's Jose Aldo. All right, now we're in the top 15 UFC fighters in history, brother. Number 15 spot. Alexandre Pantoja. I do think he's a top 15 fighter in the UFC, and I feel like people don't really want to give him that respect, but I think he deserves the respect. You know, he beat Moreno twice, beat Kai Kara-France twice, beat Royval twice, holy shit, beat Usyk and beat Manil Cap. This guy just likes lapping people, you know, likes beating people multiple times, you know, and he's doing it. The Manil Cap win is aging well, too. You know, only losses against Askarov, Ortiz, and Formiga. Yeah, these aren't bad people to lose to. You know, some of them were when he was early, though. Askarov was his, like, recent loss, I think. That's his most recent loss. It could have been Ortiz, but I'm pretty sure it's Askarov. But since then, he's been looking good. He's been championing his championship medal, you know, defending the belt. He's starting to lap the division. Joshua Van's the only hope, and I do think Joshua Van can beat him. I know that's a hot take, but we're going to have to see, brother, because I still don't know for sure if Joshua Van could go in there and put it on him. But it's definitely a possibility, but time will have to tell as far as that matchup's concerned. Moving on from Pantoja, we got Alex Poatan Pereira, man. Shama, you know, wins against Izzy. Great win. That's the best win of your career, dude. Israel Adesanya. How the hell do you beat Izzy? That's fucking... He beat Izzy at his peak as well. Jan Blachowicz. I don't even... Like, honestly, I do think Jan won, but I'm not going to Lucas Tracy Max and put the Jan as an L on his thing. I'm not going to do that. Yuri twice. Cool. You know, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then he beat Hill. Good win, I suppose. And then Sean Strickland, great, good win. Aged well, you know. Some of these names, now you're looking at it, and I feel like people are starting to understand why I've always kind of said he was going to lose to Ankalaev. It was going to be one-sided. All that came true. And his only losses are Izzy and Ink. But those are two greats, you know. Those are two top 30 fighters of all time, you know. So those aren't bad people to lose to. So Alex Pereira is still an all-time great. One of the best fighters ever. If you're going to be Alex Pereira, you have to be elite of elite. And those two people happen to be one of the best UFC fighters of all time. So it is what it is. Moving on from Alex Pereira, though, we got number 13. Anderson the Spider Silva. Best wins, Sonnen twice, Belfort, Bonner, Maya, Griffin, you know, more taxi cab drivers. More people, you know. Most of them are taxi cab drivers, and then losses, any middleweight you can name. I feel bad, because his last 8 fights, he was like 1 for 7. You know, I think who's the guy who beat that, like, what's it? Brunson or something. I forgot. Or yeah, he beat somebody in the midst of that. I forgot who it was, but it was a cool little win. But outside of that, guys, this guy was getting beat up. But to be fair, he was out of his prime, so like I don't really care too much about him losing. You know, he damn near lost a son in his prime, but he secured the choke. But he was dominant, so I am gonna still say he's a top 15 fighter of all time. I do think I think he's 13 is a better number than 15. You know, he's still a great. I know people are gonna slowly start pushing him out. Some people are gonna push him and fucking put him top 20. I can't do all that. I still gotta acknowledge his championship medal. Like I said, I do want to acknowledge those, and I do want to put some context to his losses. Like I said in my criteria, he was losing majority of those fights outside of his prime, so I don't take too much from him. But Anderson Silva is still a top 13 UFC fighter of all time. Going on to the number 12 spot. Henry Cejudo. You guys know what upsets me about Cejudo, you know? He gets no love, and I wonder why it is exactly. I didn't even think Cejudo was in Lucas's list, you know, and Bedtime's making a list tomorrow, so I'm going to have to see what he's talking about. But I think Cejudo should be acknowledged. You know, he beat Demetrius Johnson, he beat TJ, he beat Cruz, he beat Morales, he beat Pettis, you know, Sergio Pettis, by the way. You know, he's beating these good guys. His only losses is DJ, Benavidez, and the dogs post-retirement. When I'm saying dogs, I mean, bro, coming back from retirement and going against Aljo, and then Marab, you know, and then Song, sure. Song's not really a dog. Well, he's a dog, but you get my point. He post-retirement, dude, you come back and you're going against fucking killers. Good luck, dude. You know, and he made it competitive with Aljo. He made it competitive with Marab. Believe it or not, he almost got Marab out in the first round. Think about that. Think about what would happen if that happened. You know, he's a double champ. Unlike other double champs, he defended both belts. You know, him and DC are the only male people to do that. You guys got to respect Cejudo. I think the disrespect comes from his height. I don't know where the disrespect comes from, to be honest. I couldn't tell you. I do think maybe little bits. I don't know, bro. I really can't. I just feel like they don't want to acknowledge him, but I will always acknowledge him. He's one of the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. Gold medal, double champ. This guy's special, in my opinion. So he's going to be top 12 for me. Moving on to number 11 spot, though, we got Merab Dvalishvili. You know, the guy who beat this guy, you know, Sugar twice, Umar, which is going to be a really good win, by the way. You know, I'll let it age a little bit, but trust me, brother, you know, I trained with Umar, strong, handsome, you know, ripped, you know, steroid clean, you know, don't accuse him, you know, he's good. So Merab going in there and, like, losing the fight 3-2, but getting the win, I'm not coping. All right, listen, Merab beat him. I thought the fight was close, but Merab beat him. I'm not going to cope. He got it done. Great win. Is going to age beautifully. The Yan fight, he fucked him up, and no one 50-45s Yan like that, bro. Like, it's just not a normal thing to see. You know, Cejudo win, of course, goes through adversity, comes back. Aldo win, dominated. Moraes dominated. You know, bad beginner's luck his first two fights, bro. When I say this, I mean, like, he lost his first two fights, and first of all, his second fight he didn't tap. I know, and yes, he was like kind of out, but he was still fucking he was still biking, you know. So don't say he was out. You know, so bad beginner's luck, lost his last two fights, but since then, brother, he's been running through everyone like a fucking Mack truck. So you got to, and he, as far as my dominance category, he's peak. Like, he's dominating all these guys. Like, he's going against the best fighters in the world and making them look like fucking the way I would make a lot of these MMA YouTubers look in a fight. Just running through them, brother, you know, one-sidedly. So let's go, Merab Dvalishvili. I have to put him at number 11, almost top 10. But who's the number 10 spot? Israel Adesanya. Yeah, he fell a couple spots. I had like number 6, 7, I think 7 or something. But it's okay. And I understand Lucas has a big fan base, and I understand people don't like Adesanya. I understand that it's the norm to just hate on him because you guys don't like him, but you don't have to like him to understand facts. Alex Pereira is better than everyone on Merab's resume. Kenny. Sugar Sean is better than Pereira. Sugar Sean's a double champ in my head. Nah, Kenny. Umar's had done more in his career than Pereira. Nah, man. Yan done more in his career. Nah, man. Cejudo post-retirement was better than Pereira. You guys got to understand, Israel Adesanya beating Alex Pereira, especially not just beating him, knocking him out in the second round. Brother, respect this guy. Respect him, you know. Whitaker beat him twice. Knocked him out the first one brutally. Damn near 50-45 in the second fight. You know, arguably only lost 2 rounds. Maybe people say second and fifth, but he outstruck him every round. I understand people saying the takedowns might have won him a round or two, but you guys got to realize he took down Izzy. Izzy got back up and nothing else happened. He was low kicking the fuck out of him. You know, he would just get snapped back, his head snapped back with a jab. Doesn't matter. Look at the significant strike totals. You know, watch the fight back. You guys going to be like, you're going to be surprised about how one-sided it actually looked. You know, fuck, like Whitaker had no actual moments. You can't find any highlights from Whitaker outside of a takedown, then Izzy getting back up 2 seconds later. I could actually find Izzy dropping this guy, low kicking and making him fall and shit. You guys can't show me any highlights. And I don't even want to argue it, because like when I argue it and I see someone defending Whitaker, like, yeah, he got outstruck and destroyed every fight, but he took him down for about 1 second. So that shit, shut up. Yo, that gets me tight, bro. See, I don't even want to get angry, but I hate when people just don't actually watch fights and just go off other people's opinion. You don't have to like Izzy to acknowledge he beat Whitaker twice. The fact that this is even deemed as a robbery, it was unanimous decision. It wasn't split decision. It wasn't a close fight. No judges saw it close. Nobody in the world saw it close. Everyone knew Izzy won. People were just you know what it is? When Izzy beat the shit out of him in the first fight, people are like, yo, Izzy's so much better. They see him not get knocked out and last the distance. Well, he won the distance, even though he lost every round. I'm gonna just say it's a robbery because I have no hairline and I have ugly as fuck in real life. That's why I think people think. That's how I think people think, in my opinion. You know, I'm not even gonna get caught up on this because I'm getting annoyed. But beat Victoria twice. Victoria's running a 5-fight win streak before both of those wins. You know, he was like, I think he was damn near undefeated in the UFC before Izzy beat him the first time. Victoria was crying it was a robbery. They fight when Victoria's like on like a 6-fight win streak, 5-fight win streak. Izzy beats him again, 50-45 this time. He beat Paulo Costa when he was undefeated in the UFC. You know, I saw what's his name, Lucas. I think I said what's his name. I saw LucasTracy gassing up Whitaker for beating Romero. Oh my God, he beat Romero. Okay, so did Costa. Costa beat a prime Romero too. You know, and then right after that, you know, say Izzy had a weird fight with Romero, and guess what happened? Izzy fought Costa when he was undefeated in the UFC. Context of the wins matter. You can't just look at the Costa win and say, well, Kenny, after that, blah, blah, blah. I could just say Izzy broke him, because before that fight, he was an immovable, he was an unstoppable object, walking forward, marauder maxing forward, breaking you to a body, you know, bringing you to a cage, breaking you up, you know, changing people's bodies, structure, and face. You know, runs into Izzy, gets absolutely styled on, then humped 4 times. The hump is what broke him. If he never got humped by another grown man, he would have been still a marauder. But Izzy humped the faith out of him. He humped the potential out of him. It was Izzy. You know, the power of that hump, brother. Dale. That's all I'm going to say, you know. All right, buddy. But my point is, Costa was running through people, and then Izzy stopped that shit. Cannonier never gets 50-45. Got 50-45 at Izzy. Kelvin Gastelum, Izzy beat the fuck out of him. Derek Brunson, I saw people like Lucas glazing that for Dricus Duplessis. Well, guess what? Brunson was better when he fought Izzy. He lost, though. You know, Izzy beat the fuck out of him. Izzy cleaned him better than Brunson. Brunson had success against DDP. He was flipping him over, slamming him. You know, won the first round easily on him, controlled him. You know how much takedown Brunson scored on Izzy? 0 for 7, buddy. You know, this is not the same as Dricus, you know. Izzy better defensive wrestler, a little bit more handsome, tall, strong, lean, Nigerian, you know. I don't care if this is Glaze chat. The point of the matter being is, Lucas disrespect on Izzy's goofy, and this is not even Izzy Glaze. I'm not going to do a fucking pyramid scheme like what Lucas did with Volk and put Izzy number 5 and then put Pereira number 2. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just be honest, and I'm gonna say, Izzy, did he fall in my rankings? Yes, for reasons though. I'm gonna get into the reasons why he fell in my rankings, but he's still a top 10 fighter of all time. And anyone who doesn't see this, you're just a hater. Sorry. Of course, his losses: Pereira, DDP, Strickland, and Mavavian. Pereira, like I said, context of losses matter. Pereira did not dominate him. Pereira was losing. He needed a knockout. He got a questionable TKO. DDP, very competitive fight that I had Izzy winning. I had Izzy winning in it. You know, I'm pretty sure two judges gave Izzy rounds 1 and 3, which is all that matters. You know, that's all that matters. But DDP got the win. So like another comeback. Sean Strickland just beat Izzy. He just beat Izzy. No excuse, whatever. Was Izzy hurt? Yes, but who cares? He lost. And Malvov lost the first round, catches Izzy. You know, shit happens. Jan Blachowicz, Izzy goes up, very competitive fight. People try to act like that fight was very one-sided. Wasn't as one-sided. People try to make it out to be. Rewatch that fight, but Jan Blachowicz definitely won. Izzy did not gain that weight appropriately. But we had to talk about Izzy for a good amount of time because people like Lucas, their whole purpose in life is just to hate on people like Izzy for no reason. Moving on from that though, Adesanya is still a top 10. Let's get into the number 9 spot. Demetrius Johnson, he fell a little bit from my list, guys. Benavidez twice, that's great. Borg, that's a good win. Cejudo, Dobson, Elliott. I can't really keep going, but I could glaze his championship medal. You know, championship medal. He's lots of title offenses, and when he was at his prime, he was unstoppable. That's until Cejudo came. Cejudo beat him. That's probably the best person to actually beat Demetrius Johnson at his pinnacle. When Cruz beat him, it was more like Demetrius Johnson going up in weight rather than anything else, you know. And then the Ian McCall fight, weird. The Brian Pickett fight, weird. Who cares? That was a little bit younger days, so I don't really take too much from Demetrius Johnson, but I still got to respect him for what he's done in his weight class and what he's done in his career. But I'd be lying if I said his resume isn't slowly starting to get worse as time goes along, unfortunately. But Demetrius Johnson's still a GOAT, and I'm still going to honor him in the top 10. Absolutely. In the number 8 spot, guys, we got Alexander Volkanovski. This is an appropriate spot. Stop trying to gaslight people that Volkanovski is number 2 all time. Yeah, man, Volkanovski number 2 all time because I put Dustin Poirier number. Like, stop trying to make lightweights go really high so you can say Islam, who beat all these guys in the top 30, barely beat Volk. Like, shut up. It's not working. You can't gaslight me, Lucas. You can gaslight your fans who are a little bit slow, maybe. You can't do it to my community and me, brother, you know. Beat Max 3 times. You know, I don't know what's so funny to me because every time I could pre-fire what Lucas is going to say about Volk before he says it. I know it's going to be 3 times. You're going to emphasize it 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. Shut up. Dude, at a point, when do we like start to realize, okay, you beat this guy, you beat this guy, you beat this guy. What, you probably have the guy's number. You're probably just a better fighter than the guy. So, like, listen, chat. If I say me and Lucas fought 3 times, I beat him up. If I beat him up 10 more times, are you guys gonna be like, yo, Kenny, you're just so good. You're beating Lucas. No, brother, no one cares. Like, at this point, you have the guy's number. Yes, 3 times is cool, but I just hate that people milk that so much because they look at the rest of his resume. Watch this. Yair Rodriguez, that's not a great win to like glaze too much. Ortega, not a great win to glaze. Lopez, really not a great win to glaze. Same with Chad Mendes. Jose Aldo at that time, really not a crazy win to glaze. That's my point being said is a lot of Volk's other wins aren't crazy to glaze as much as a Max. And even Max himself, his best win is Justin Gaethje. But my point is, like, you have to emphasize the Max 3 times because if you can't really talk about Ortega too much or Yair because they're not as good. But I'll say this: at the time, Ortega was a mean green fighting machine or whatever. He was looking good, you know, BJJ threats and stuff, you know. But Volkanovski, he's still a great fighter. I still think he's a top 10, but I just hate when people emphasize the Max 3 times so much. Like, if Izzy beat Whitaker a 3rd time, chat, I'm sorry. You're beating up the same guy. Like, good job, Izzy, you know, beating Whitaker 3 another time, but I just don't care for it. That's my opinion. That might be a hot take. I don't know. But, yeah, Topuria and Islam are the only ones who beat this fucking G, man. He's a dog. Look at his head, bro. He's bald, shining, strong. You know, maybe shoulders a little bit broad. I just wonder, I'd rub his head and, like, maybe, you know, kiss the top of it. I don't know. He's a good guy. He gives me good guy vibes. I like him. He's definitely just not number 2 all time. Like, that's literally funny as hell. But I'm sure Lucas actually convinced some people in my comments, like, Kenny, how you not putting fucking Volk number 2? But whatever, man. That shit's not flying with me. In the number 7 spot, though, trust me. Losses? What's that? I'm the best. Trust me. I'm the best. You know, he doesn't have losses, and of course he has wins. Wins against Volk, knockout. Wins against Max, knockout. Wins against Charles, knockout. Wins against Emmett, 50-42. Wins against Bryce Mitchell, submission. The point about Ilia Topuria, you put him in front of anyone, guys, he's gonna finish that person. You know, he's gonna finish them, make them look like they shouldn't be in the ring with them. So I gotta acknowledge Ilia. I do think he's better than Volk all time. You know what I don't understand? Why the hell did Lucas not put Ilia ahead of Volk? Like, well, I guess my criteria is a little bit different than Lucas. I am valuing dominance. Like, Ilia is dominated. He dominated Charles bad. I can't lie. The victory against Max and Volk was dominant. It might have not been one-sided, but it was dominant in the sense that it was almost inevitable for Ilia to find his timing and then beat him up. Was he dominant against Bryce Mitchell? Yes. Was he dominant against Josh Emmett? Fuck yeah. I don't even know how Josh Emmett survived to this day, but Ilia Topuria put on one of the most dominating performances. He's a double champ, like he's a 2-division champ at least. I can't say double, I guess, but 2-division champ. He's ahead of Volk. Volk tried to do that. He failed. You know, Ilia goes against Charles Oliveira, who's a really good fighter, chins him, and he succeeds and does it in the first round. Dominance matters. Ilia Topuria is better than Volk. If you don't understand that, your hairline's probably crooked in real life. We'll leave it at that. Moving on from Ilia Topuria, though, in the number 6 spot, Islam Makhachev. I know, guys, I think I'm a bigger Islam Makhachev fan than Lucas Tracy, but unfortunately, I am more realistic than Lucas Tracy, and I'd be lying if I think this resume is the number 1 resume or, like, you know, situation in UFC history. You know, Charles, great win. Volk twice, great win. Of course, a short notice fight or whatever. Who cares? Still knocked out Volk. Dustin Poirier, good win. It was pretty dominant. I wouldn't say it's as dominant as I would like, but he dominated Dustin. Definitely dominated him. Dan Hooker got fucking rolled. Moicano got rolled. But, you know, I'd be lying if I said Moicano and Hooker are, like, fucking, you know, the best of the best. They're good, though. But I'd be lying if I said, like, this would be the number 1 fighter of all time. And this is someone who loves Islam. You know, like, you guys know this. And I'm telling you, Islam's going to be JDM. After this, we could talk, brother. You know, we could talk. Maybe about number 1, sure. Why not? But you guys are reaching with, like, this. Like, I can't believe whatever. Cool. I'm not mad at it. Listen, the more people who think Islam's number one, the merrier to me. But unfortunately, I'm gonna be honest in this video. I'm sorry. And his only loss against it was a Pantoja doppelganger fluke, bro. Like Martinez got lucky, dude. Like he's sipping martini somewhere in Mexico right now, scared of Islam. Like I'll never run it back. I'm the best. Trust me, I'm fucking Pantoja, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Stay in Cancun and keep sipping that fucking martini, brother. You come, brother. We turn martini into very, Komori, headlock, Darce stroke. We Darce stroke this fucking Pantoja doppelganger in a rematch, but he would never fight us. But point being said is, I wouldn't say Islam is quite number 1 fighter of all time, but he's definitely getting close. In the number 5 spot, we got GSP. look at the picture I chose from. This guy's fucking in black and white. Guy was fighting in the 1970s. Matt Hughes twice, Sarah, Condit, Diaz, Jake Shields, good names. And then he just loses to people named Matt. If your name is Matt, the chance of you beating GSP goes from 1% to 99. It just happens. But he will avenge these losses, so it is a double-edged sword. He was a double champ. I'll be real, chat. Bisping, for your double champ, I don't like this quality of opponent, brother. If it Whitaker, maybe we could talk differently, but I just don't see Bisping as like a raw talent, but great double champ, great welterweight career, middleweight career, not much of it, just win one fight against a stylistic easy fight and leave. But GSP is still someone in my top 5 who I feel like a lot of people should acknowledge as a top 5, which brings me to my number 4 spot. Hey, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman. I'm a problem. You get me, bro? Guys, real bad man Usman. Let's talk about it, bro. He beat Woodley, who was one of the welterweight goats at the time. Let's get that straight. And 50-44 him. Like I said, look at my quality of wins and the domination. He did both of them. He finished Colby Covington the first time, beat him the second time. He went in there and dominated Buckley, who was going to fight for the title next if he were to beat Kamaru Usman. Like I said, guys, that matters. That matters. Dominance matters. And let me say something. 2-year layoff, 38 years old, no knees, hairline's receding, little bit, he handsome guy. I'm not going to call him ugly. You get my point. All the cards stacked against him. Usman goes in there, beats on him, Dr. Dre, hands on him, lots of bass. When I say lots of bass, I mean he had him on the ground, brother, talking to him a little bit, changing his face. Brother, this is one-sided beatdown. I think the footage deleted. Someone tell me on YouTube if that fight's up. They deleted the footage. When ass weapons look like that, they can't have it up on the internet. Children sometimes on YouTube, we can't have this. Smash that guy, So that's what fucking skyrocketed him up to number 4 for me. I had him like number 6 before this. Mazarov twice, Mazarov riding the momentum off the Diaz fight, the Till fight, and then the Ben Askren knockout, and then he sees Usman, and then he loses. And then he asks for a rematch because, you stepping on my toes, I'm stepping on your toes, how about I put a hole through your head? Knocked him out in the second fight. Easy. Burns was undefeated in welterweight. Runs into Usman. What happens? Beats on him. Finished TKO. RDA, great fighter. Maya, great fighter. Strickland, ages well. Leon Edwards, ages well. Only losses is the Leon twice. The Hamza fight, kind of a draw, but sure it's a loss. And it's important to note, like I said, context of the losses. Context of the Hamza loss, 10 days notice against a killer like Hamza and still scoring a draw, in my opinion. And then the Leon loss, the first fight, dominating him, then gets caught with a head kick. Second, the third fight, he was just really hesitant to really engage, and then that happened. Whatever, he kind of got outpointed. Even then, Leon was cheating and got point deduction. It should have been anyways. I'm not even gonna cope. But my point is, when you look at Usman's fights contextually, you're gonna realize this guy's losses aren't even bad. So definitely top 4 all time. Respect Kamaru Dean Usman. Bald head, strong guy. This guy's a trouble, and if he becomes champion, number 1 all time, dale. But now we're in the top 3 UFC fighters of all time. In the number 3 spot, Daniel D.C. Cormier. I don't understand how and why he's so underrated. It's kind of confusing to me. I'll be real. Stipe Miocic goes up in weight and knocks out Stipe Miocic. See, GSP going up in weight and beating Michael Bisping, that's cool. Going up in weight and being the heavyweight GOAT, arguably by knockout, I think that's better. Beating Gustafsson, that's great. Beating Rumble Johnson twice. Rumble, guys. Rumble's not a walk in the park, and he submitted him, Beating Frank Mir, that's not easy. Bigfoot Silva, not easy. Uzdemir, not easy. Derek Lewis, crazy power, domination. He's dominating a lot of these guys. Dominated Rumble, dominated Mir, dominated Stipe. Only losses against Jones and Stipe. Jones is like arguably the GOAT, definitely the light heavyweight GOAT. Goes up, fights a heavyweight GOAT, beats him the first time, then loses him when he's older. Daniel Cormier has the most underrated resume, and I still don't know why for sure. I think it has something to do with maybe a little bit chubby guy. Don't respect chubby. I don't know. But this guy's a fucking dog. And when I'm telling you guys got to stop playing with DC like he's fucking like a joke, because he's not. And he's serious and he's legit. So respect Daniel Cormier, or you're going to get the beats on you like Dr. Dre. But let's go to the number 2 spot. Habib the Eagle Nurmagomedov, bro. You guys know my criteria is quality of wins and dominance. I do value dominance number 2 high. And when I say dominance, this is like an unworldly dominance. This dominance transcends everything else. You know, going in there against RDA guys, dominating him in the grappling. He never went against a grappler, Kenny. Shut your mouth. RDA on a crazy win streak, loses to Habib, then goes on another crazy win streak, wins the belt off that. Habib beat a prime RDA. He destroyed a prime Conor McGregor. He destroyed a prime Dustin Poirier. He destroyed a prime Justin Gaethje. He destroyed a prime Edson Barboza. He destroyed a prime Michael Johnson, who knocked out Dustin Poirier, you know. He's destroyed. When I say destroy, I mean he didn't bleed in the fight. Didn't get scratched in those fights. Didn't get knocked down. You know, they didn't get rocked. None of these fights against these people. What do you mean he didn't get rocked against Conor or Dustin or Justin or Edson Barboza? He didn't get leg kicked by, you know, what happened? How is he not getting scratched, Kenny? How's he not getting rocked? How's he not bleeding? Why are you asking me, bro? Am I Habib? Why are you guys sitting there literally asking me the question through the screen? I don't know. He's special. He's not normal. He's just not real. He's a vampire. Like, he's something you read about in books a little bit, you know. You can't really describe it or understand it. You just got to be in awe of it. And that's what I am of it. Goes in the same fight style every time. It works every time. They are prepping for his fight style. They're game planning with his fight style their whole life. They go against him. He still dominates them. Not just beats them in close fights. He dominates them. Arguably never lost a round his entire career. This guy's special. Losses, LOL. What's that? What's that, brother? I'm the best. Habib's literally the best, brother. You know, my father, you know, this guy helped me with things, life, you know. I'm smash. I smash. You know, he goes there, he smash. That's Habib Nurmagomedov. He really should be number 1. But my number 1 spot, I do have John Jones, because generations, man. He beats the DCs in his prime. He beats the Cyril Gons. That's a different generation. Beats Gustafsson twice. The second time, no questions left to be answered. Rampage beating him. Belfort beating him. Machida beating him. Bonner beating him. Sonnen beating him. Glover beating him. Rashad Evans beating him. You know, Rua beating him. Beating him. I'm getting to a beat with a beating him. You get me, bruv. No losses, really. You know, disqualification, sure, brother. But honestly, I'm not fond of Jones. He took steroids. He didn't really need to. And people gotta understand, taking steroids don't make you fight better. Does not improve your fight IQ. You know, Jones doesn't need to he doesn't need to be stronger than these guys to beat him. He just popped for them. He didn't need them, you know. I do think he's weird for taking steroids. But my point being said is, picogram, whatever, I don't give a fuck what it is. He's still a great fighter, guys. And I have to acknowledge that, even though I you know, what he's going on with this Tom Aspin situation, he's ducking, he's scared, whatever, cool. He's still the greatest fighter of all time. You like or you don't like. I actually don't like the fact that I'm saying this, but I have to accept that I do think John Jones was put on this earth to be a great fighter, and I think that's what he is. And his championship medal is a little bit better than Habib's, because he did hold the belt for a little bit longer, did defend, and was around longer and fought different generations. So I'm going to applaud him for that, and I'm going to put him above Habib. So this is my GOAT list, guys. Now, after looking at my GOAT list, you guys can have your opinion about, but Kenny, I disagree with this. You could disagree with spots, and I'm not upset about this, but you can't act like this GOAT list wasn't a lot more based off just intelligence and smarts, brother. I'm sure the comments going to be hating, but that's every GOAT list. You can't find any creator who drops a GOAT list like, oh, I agree with that. I see Horpora getting shit. I see Bedtime always getting shit for it. Lucas, whatever. Lucas actually deserves to get shit for it. That one was crazy today. But this one, I think it's common sense. But let me know what you guys think down below. That's it for me. And God bless. 2, 3.